Yeah. Ah, oh, oh. I think we're live now. Can you hear me, Jamie?
I can. There we go.
We were sort of frozen in time and nothing was happening. So I refreshed the page and suddenly it,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, all right then. Well, welcome everybody. We're having some problems connecting this morning, but welcome to Evolving into the Cosmic Heart with myself, Jamie, and the lovely Rachel.
Hello. So let
Just
me
gonna.
have a look. Yeah, we're all suddenly jumping all over Facebook now to do fiddle with this, that, and the other. Mm, 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 mm,
I'm
mm.
gonna go on and try to make sure that we're rolling here on Facebook and then share it.
I can see this. I can see it.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Oh, wrong page.
It's very hot here today in Denmark. It's like there's only about 2 days in the year you need to put a fan on. Today's one of them. So my hair might have this sort of wavy effect blowing about.
Yeah, we all know
Fan.
you did it on purpose so that you could have that like goddess, the goddess, just
Yeah.
blowing in the breeze. No. Yeah, it's really hot here too in New Jersey, and it's been. I mean, we are pushing like I don't know what the degrees is there, how it translates, but it's literally about like 90 something degrees. I think what are we? We're Fahrenheit here, and you're Celsius, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We've
So yeah.
we've nearly been getting up to 30, which is quite unheard of. Doesn't happen very often. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, so very interesting weather that we're having makes for very, very difficult days to be outside. And then in the evening, it's like, it's nicer, but then we're like loaded with mosquitoes because if it's not scorching hot, it's monsoon rain. So yeah, mosquitoes are not good.
Yeah. I've got quite a few mosquito bites actually. I think once they bite me, I think the other ones can all smell it, and then they sort of come along.
My legs look just out of this world right now. So
That's a nice thing about being on camera, isn't it?
it is. It is. So I'm just sharing this so everybody knows, and then this way I can actually see what else is going on here.
Well, I have another bit of news. Apart
Yes,
from
please share.
the fact it's warm in Denmark, I'm getting my hair cut.
Oh, yay! Yay! What are you gonna do? Just a cut, or keep it the
I
same,
think
or
so. I thought I don't like to rush into things. I thought I might discuss having some
because
colour
if not,
next time.
okay. Oh, color is fun. I love color, but you have that beautiful silver though that
Well,
we've
that's it.
talked
It would
about this
only be
before.
sort of like not the whole thing, sort of bits of it, and
Hmm.
maybe like a bit of lilac or something.
That would be beautiful, especially with your silver. That would really be beautiful.
It
And
depends though, because the last time I talked to the hairdresser about it, although this is about 5 years ago now, because it had just come in having those colours, and she said, "Oh, don't bother. They only stay in your hair for about a week." And I said,
oh,
"Oh, I'm not going to spend all that money just for a week. But maybe the dyes are better now."
yeah. I mean, it just really depends, I guess, on what they use in different countries too. I'm not really sure what they use,
Yeah.
but mine, when I did we call them fashion colors. When we did those fashion colors, they did last, I'd say at least a month to month and a half before they really started fading. So
Yeah.
and actually, I hear something. I hear my dog. So I have to check really quickly, Rachel. I apologize, everybody.
That's all
Um,
right.
Let me check in what's going on downstairs. I can.
I'll sit and talk about my hair. Yes. But yeah, no, things cost quite a lot of money in Denmark. So, I don't enter into these things lightly. We pay nearly 40% tax here, which also means that any money that I earn, it's like gets crunched into quite substantially. So everything sort of sounds really cheap to me from other countries. I'm like, wow, is that all? Because here things are like that much more to sort of cover the tax for everybody. But then we have all this like quite comprehensive healthcare and social care, and not that I benefit from any of that because I'm an immigrant. I benefit from the healthcare, but not the rest. So, but yeah, it's okay. I still buy a lot of things in England, so that really helps. I still shop there. So here's Jamie coming back, seeing if her dogs were eating each other.
Back. Okay.
See,
Sorry.
good. I started talking about taxes. Terrible.
Oh no.
Terrible.
Oh no, what happened? Sorry about that. They were really going nuts down there. So I was like, what's happening? So there's probably something rabid or something like that outside. So, oh my goodness. Apologies, everybody. The energy's a little bit intense today. I don't know if everybody else noticed that. Rachel, you're in the future. So how did you feel today?
So today was my first day back, real first day back at work for like weeks, because Benji went back to school today. So I just like hit the ground running and just did loads of stuff that had been waiting to be done. And I got quite a lot done. And then I felt really tired. And then I had to go out and do a bit of shopping.
Oh, wow.
So it's been quite productive day.
Oh, well, there you go. Productive is good.
So take that energy and use it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really the best way to go about it. Is to take, I'm sorry, my cat is like right here. She's got to be all, see her tail in the video. I'm like, okay, lift up the cord here. Yeah.
All the animals are like making themselves known today.
Yeah, it's like, well, they definitely feel it the way that we do. So, if not more intensely than what we do. And she, for whatever reason, has to be like right here on top of me during this transmission, or during this conversation. So I'm going to allow her to say, but hopefully she'll.
I think they all just want their own piece on the show, Jamie.
They really,
it's like...
Yeah, we're going to have the Freya segment.
Yes.
It'll be the Freya segment.
Cat's corner.
Yeah.
And doggy, I don't know, doggy something. I was going to say doggy doo-doos. That's not very polite.
Oh my God. Yeah, on Moon Day, Anubis loves to make an appearance with his barking. And people have gotten quite used to it at this point, I think. So, yeah.
Well, Benji's completely fallen asleep. He's done that the last few days because we've been staying with his grandmother up on the other end of Denmark. And we were staying in, they sort of have like this little garden place, like in an allotment sort of thing down the road, like a little summer house. And we stayed in there and Benji stayed with them. But it meant they didn't get a lot of sleep.
Oh.
So he was just quite exhausted since he got back. And then with the heat and everything as well, it's like go and have a little read before bedtime. And then the next thing you know, it's like, that never happens.
Wow.
He's a nightmare.
Well, what a relief for you then.
Yeah, that's one good point about it being really, really fun.
Wonderful. So you said you went away. Did you do anything, explore anything magical, or?
No, it was just visiting grandma and staying up there, and yeah, we were only there a couple of days, but it's quite a long journey there and back. So, but I mean, it was nice to be in a different part of Denmark for a while.
Nice. Yeah, I need a vacation. I need to go away. Yeah. So the energy has been really interesting this weekend. I don't know. I think we touched a tiny bit on it the other day when we were last week, maybe when we were here, about the Lion's Gate.
Lions Gate.
Yeah.
It's quite a big thing over the years. People talk about it a lot more now than they used to. I know Celia Fenn used to go on about it. And I used to notice because it's quite near my birthday, which is next Sunday, the 16th.
Oh, well, happy birthday in advance since we will not see you.
And and there's some meteoroid things that go on in August as well, isn't there, every year?
I think so.
Somewhere around the middle, I think. and that comes
I always
over as
confuse
well.
them. I always confuse them. I don't know if it's the ones that start with a P. Is it the?
Yeah, I can't
I can't
remember.
remember.
And then the ones that come somewhere near around my birthday every year.
Yeah. Well, if somebody tuning in knows, please feel free to drop it in the comments for us.
My brother tells me he knows all that.
Mm.
He knows all that stuff.
Mm.
It's like,
Perseid?
I saw your bee picture. I just saw it earlier.
Might be.
This huge golden
Oh,
bee.
the one that I posted last week on Cosmic Heart. Yeah, it happened. What was it? The day after Cosmic Heart, maybe? I think it was. I think it was the day after Cosmic Heart, and I couldn't even believe it. And
I mean, was that a bee? Was that actually
I
a
don't know
bee?
what it was. It looked more like a hornet to me because it wasn't fuzzy. You know how bees are a little bit more, they're like furry and fuzzy, and hornets they're kind of, we also refer to them, I think, as yellow jackets because their body is more hard and it's like yellow and black. And it was massive to the point that I don't know if everybody's seen like the not the news, I mean, maybe the news, the reports of like these giant murder hornets, they're calling them, from like Asia or something. This thing was ginormous. It wasn't as big as that I've actually seen what the murder hornets look like. Um, it wasn't as big as that, but it was definitely abnormally large. And I was like, okay. I,
People have to go on the Cosmic page and look at this photo
yeah.
because I don't know if it was a light on or something, but its body actually looks like it's made out of gold. It's like
Yes.
shining, like some sort of Egyptian bee or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean,
just really
it was definitely majestic. I've tried to put my hand as close as I bravely could while it was just kind of, it was just relaxing on my screen in my window. And I tried to put my hand as close as I could so I could show you the size difference because this was like 3 times the size of an average bee or even an average hornet. And it wasn't doing anything, reckless. It wasn't bothering me or anything like that. So I thanked it for its presence. And I thought it was just incredible because we had just had the Cosmic Heart discussion about the bees the day before. And I did end up capturing it and safely getting it back outside. So, but I recognized its magic and its presence and just thanked it. And I actually did pull a card afterwards from my bee deck. And I asked what the message was. And the message that I took away from it was that it was honoring a bee priestess. And it was basically just paying homage, giving reverence, and almost like bestowing its blessing. That's the message that I took away from it. So I was blown away because it was like the whole conversation that happened previously. And it made me almost feel like it was honoring or acknowledging that we were bringing this into awareness, that we were talking about it. They are incredibly connected, intuitive. And, this might sound a little foo-foo and wacky for those that are not as in tune with nature. And it's okay if you're not, and it's okay if you feel that way. I once upon a time was there, but I have since, coming into my own self more and more so, we become more tapped into the interconnectedness of all. And every day I did say that I do call on a message from the bees. I ask them for a message specifically, and I work with my bee deck. And yeah, that just, I hadn't even pulled cards that day yet either. So that's what made it even more like incredible.
I spoke to another couple of people who had also had bee synchronicities.
Mm.
So, and I've ordered the bee oracle
You
cards.
did? Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I've ordered them to go to my son's address, and then he's visiting in the UK, and he's visiting, and I'm hoping I ordered a pack for my friend as well because she wants some. I'm hoping he'll bring them over. He'll squeeze them into his
Oh,
EasyJet
nice.
hand luggage.
Nice.
So I'm getting to deliver overseas,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't work. And then I looked at it on Etsy, and it was a lot more expensive on Etsy. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to doing some bee readings.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, good for you. It's a fascinating deck. And to the creators, like, hands down, gratitude to you, because it's very unique and so necessary as this new information comes forward right now, so especially with the divine feminine energy. And it's just, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and I'm still sleeping better. I haven't had to take, because I mean, I was reading about how a lot of people, I think I said this last week, are really struggling, especially women, have been struggling to sleep since the corona started. And I have had terrible, I've never had problems like this in my life. And I've been having to take antihistamines and stuff just to get to sleep. I haven't had to take them. I haven't taken any this week. I just put that bee thing on.
Wow.
I don't know how it's soothing though, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it just, because I try other things like waves, and I do waves a lot, Pacific waves specifically, and Benji listens to them all night because it actually keeps him in does something to his nervous system, and it keeps him in a deeper phase of sleep. But there's just something about those bees. It's just like, oh, well, it's just what I need. So it's great.
That's an incredible realization. It really is. And you're right. There are so many people who've been, reaching out or commenting on like posts that I share, and they're saying like, I've really been struggling to sleep. And it definitely has to do with the high intensity energy coming in right now, and all of this energetic shifting that we're doing right now. But that's really cool. So everybody, yeah. It's on YouTube, you said?
Yeah. I made my own one, so I've got one on Rachel Goodwin, my YouTube channel.
There we go. You heard it here.
There's 8 hours of
it. Whoa, that's perfect though. So awesome. Rachel Goodwin's YouTube channel, everybody. Be magic. Be therapy. I love that.
Exactly. And it doesn't cost any money.
No. There you go.
Well, apart from your internet fees.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because for a lot of people who have babies who are colicky when they're born, they do have to put on like static white noise, and that puts them to sleep and calms them down. So it's very interesting. There's definitely something to do with the vibration.
Yeah. But I had this book called I think it was The Baby Whisperer. It's quite old now. My friend Lynn recommended it to me, and they said it's like you treat the baby, like when it comes out, you try and give it the same conditions that it had in the womb. And that sound, that sort of, because I actually recorded a Hoover and then replayed it on my phone, and it's to replicate the sound of the blood going through the placenta. And we swaddled him, because like these days they say don't swaddle, don't this, don't that. But we did these things because like tribes have been doing them for a really long time, and they, generally their kids have survived. So, and he was just a dream, and it worked, because I think otherwise he would have been really difficult baby with the ADHD and everything, because he was so like the slightest thing. You couldn't actually sleep in the room with Benji, because you turn over and it would wake him up. So I think we managed it until he was about 6 months old. And then I had to go and sleep on the sofa, because we were in a 1-bedroom flat. We had to go and sleep on the sofa. But it saved our lives, that noise.
Wow.
And then because we used to try it with it off, and then he would just wake up all night, because it drove Thomas a bit mad. Whereas I liked it because it does the same thing to my nervous system. I sort of go like that. So after a while, I bought some Pacific Wave, and he listens to that all night.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I love that. And anybody who if anybody does try the bees with their newborn children, anybody watching this even on replay, try listening to bees with the newborn children if you're having difficulty with them sleeping. I would love to hear feedback about that. I really would. I think that be very interesting to hear, and or even for yourself, those of you struggling to sleep.
We could try different noises, couldn't we? See which ones, because I'm sure different noises must suit like different people. I listen to in the winter, I mean, when I'm shut inside, because these buildings that we live in, they're so heavily insulated, you can't hear anything from the outside. And my tinnitus, I've got like ear damage in my right ear, and it gets so loud that I actually put on woodland sounds to listen to. And I hear all these birds go, and all these, and it's lovely. It's sort of, it's like a white noise then. So.
Oh, very interesting. They said Lindsay commented, and she said that she used that book, the one that you spoke of. What was the name of it again? The baby.
Oh,
The Baby Whisperer. She said she
that's,
loved that book, and she said
it was
she
great.
used that book to help their special needs son sleep as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was so grateful. I was so grateful to my friend for recommending it, because I wouldn't have seen it, because it was I think I bought a copy of it for 1p on Amazon,
Oh,
because it was quite old and they'd sold quite a lot at the time. But these things go in and out of fashion, don't they? I wouldn't have known about it if she hadn't have told me. And it really saves our lives. And he was such an easy baby because of it. Which you need when you're 40, when you've got pregnant when you're 41.
oh, that's incredible, though.
He based it all. He was a doctor in America, and he based it all by studying different tribes and obviously using his medical knowledge and everything, but sort of sorting out what he thought was like good and proper stuff. And it's really good book.
Wow, that's
I
fascinating.
would recommend it.
Yeah, incredible. I love that. Right. Yeah, and we have.
So I like all that. I loved being a mum. I missed it now.
Yeah.
Not enough that I would ever do it again. Not that I can, because I'm going to be 50 next week.
Yeah. Mine, my youngest just turned 18, so my oldest is 21, and I do. It feels like it was another lifetime ago. I miss it. It goes so fast. And I wish sometimes that I could have another one with the knowledge and experience that I have now, because I feel like things would be so different. They would be so much easier. But then I think about other things. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. Not this lifetime.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
next
okay.
one. Next one.
Yeah. No, just dogs and cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe a beehive one
Beehive.
day.
There you go. Yeah, I've got one, although I'm not really allowed anywhere near it. So I'll just stay next to it.
Oh,
It's in my sight. It's in my sighting. Yeah. I will tell you something. Oh, this is something that happened with the bees. Oh, this is funny. It's funny. My husband's going to choke me, though. So my husband and I had a disagreement about something, and we were outside talking about it. And as we were disagreeing, I felt myself starting to get a little bit more irritable. And he was sitting on the chair. Now, I said this last week, how on my patio, where our, the chairs, our patio chairs are that we sit on, and the siding of the house, there's a beehive, because the bees come out and they fly around every time you get too close to it, and they go back in. Now, the one double sofa chair is sitting almost up against that, but just a little further away. My husband was sitting there, and we're having this conversation, and it's getting intense, and I'm starting to get irritated with him not maybe just understanding what I was trying to say. So as I'm going on talking about it, I'm like, you're not listening, you're not understanding. And I feel my energy getting more intense. I start to notice the bees start to come out of the hive. This is incredible. Yeah, I was telling my friends about this. The bees start coming out of the hive, and they actually started swarming him. And I was like, at first I was just thinking it was a coincidence, because he was there and he was talking, and the vibration of us talking and the energy behind it, And I stopped talking, and he kept talking then. And then you could tell he was getting irritated. And so as he's talking, the bees start flying more and more. And they're starting to swarm to the point that I just stopped and was like, I think we should just stop talking. And as soon as I calmed my energy down, they calmed down and went back in the hive. I'm not making this up. And I was like, oh, are they responding to me? Are they coming out to see what is, what's happening? I don't know. I don't know how to take that, but it was incredible, because I almost felt like, am I conducting these bees? Are they responding to my reactions, to my vibration? And they just, even though it was me who was talking, they swarmed him. And I was like, let me just bring it in a little bit before my husband gets attacked.
Did he
He
notice?
did.
He
After a
notice
while,
them?
he did. And he was like, okay. We both got to the point where we just kind of froze because they were getting really irritated. And I started to I made a joke that I was like, go ahead, push me again. I'm going to call bees, you know? So they ended up going back in, and then, you know, we stopped having our conversation. And I don't even know what it was about. It was just something silly where, you know, you have just a disagreement and the one person has to, yeah, but you're not, you have to keep pushing your point until the person finally gets it. Yeah. But let that be a lesson, fellas. No, I'm kidding.
That's interesting, though. It's interesting, isn't it? Be warrior priestess.
I was like, don't mess around. We got big jumbo hornets that I will call in this house. Don't make me angry.
Wow, you're going to make sure you wear your shadow stuff. You'll wake up with a big stain.
when I get to ascend, I'm going to be known as the Shadow Bee Priestess. That's going to be my title.
I have heard something about though, when you're a beekeeper, you do have to be calm.
Wow.
Around them. You know, if you start getting like and panicking and all the rest of it, it makes them
frenzy.
So they must be able to sense. They must be able to sense
Yeah.
that energy. And you were probably like,
I was projecting for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that it was me. It was me who was doing it. It was me, and they went to him. And they just were, you know, they just started kind of swarming. There weren't too many. There was probably I'd say about 5. And then as he began to talk, more came. And I was like, okay.
Well, that's it. That's how you think you're a bee.
Maybe.
They're like reading your energy and they think,
Maybe. Who knows?
We must protect her against this outsider who's not a bee.
I consume enough honey, I'll tell you that. So maybe I'm embodying the tribe. I don't know.
No, but if you're like communing with them regularly, they are going to be in tune with you, aren't they? I mean,
it just takes it to a whole new level. You know, it really does. It's like, and I had that epiphany moment where I was like, I don't want to be that person that's be like, you know, the bees are like my familiars, you know, I don't want to be that person, but you know, they're like, I'm the queen bee, you know, no, I'm not that person. But I did like have to think about it for a second, considering what we do understand about energy. And even in the terms of dogs or cats, you know, I've noticed similar situations where if your energy gets really riled up, or if there's an argument going on, you know, there's yelling between the kids, the animals' energies get very spiked, and either they're panicking, they don't want to be around it, or they respond and react negatively to it. So it does begin to make us very aware of how our emotions do also emit frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. And I used to blow light bulbs and things quite a lot. Not that I've calmed down the last few years, but I've always had a bit of a temper. And you know,
I'm going to be the Shadow Bee Priestess, and you're going to be Electra.
Well, I was going to say, this is one of the books that I would definitely recommend. Somebody asked me if I could recommend some more books, and this is a good one. It's more of a, you know, it's more of a self-help book, but that's The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. And Imelda, who's teaching me and the group that I'm in, Nordic Shamanism Saver, she recommended this and said, you know, if you're going to work this powerfully with Norse magic, you really have to deal with your shadow side. And I was like, oh,
I have a shadow side.
I've been doing this work for years and years because I have. I mean, you know, I started sort of working with psychotherapy and psychoanalysis and that, and counselling and psychiatric nurse when I was 23, and I've never stopped that journey. And I've always like, and I was like, oh God. And then I thought, well, I might as well have a look at the book, but I was annoyed. And then I started working with the book, and I love it. It's fantastic. Everybody should do this.
The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. I like that.
Yeah, it's really practical. It gives you lots of easy ways to sort of work with stuff, and it's fab. It's absolutely fab. It's almost, I'm not asking for this universe, but it's almost like nothing bad can happen to you anymore, because it just shows you how to get the good stuff out of just
Oh, wow.
everything out, and it's just like, oh, it's so useful, and stops that splitting off that we do as
Yeah.
people, between the
Right.
dark stuff and the light stuff. It's like, no, bring it together. You've got to bring it together all the time. It's like, I love it. I really recommend that
Yeah, I'm
book.
gonna have to have a look at it. Thank you for that. Sounds like it's right up my
Yeah,
alley.
I think she's American.
Okay. Yeah, sounds right up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people don't recognize the dark side of the light work. They really don't. And it's interesting because, I remember having conversations, before, and expressing myself and my opinions, which, we're allowed to do. We should be freely allowed to express our opinions, obviously try to have compassion when possible, but absolutely speak your truth. And that's coming up more and more right now, especially with this Lions Gate. It's been like, my throat chakra is liberated. I am saying whatever feels fit to come through. And it's interesting because I'm even experiencing like post nasal drip. So there's like this like clearing that's happening with the throat chakra. And this part of my bee conversation over the weekend was me liberating my throat. But yeah, I've had conversations with like, like my son, and for example, and with my son and I, he's like, oh, he's totally like my challenge in life. He's my challenge and my blessing, but he's like me in a male version, and he totally gives it back to me, and so we'll have a disagreement. And one time he said to me, and you call yourself a light worker and you're spiritual, but you have these opinions and these thoughts. And I'm like, whoo, that's because I am in myself enough to know that that it is necessary to be both shadow and light. It is necessary for us to say and exactly what we feel. Obviously, to not indulge, there's a big difference between indulging and honoring. And you do have to find that balance and find compassion in your words. But you are allowed to have those moments where you are angry and you are frustrated, and maybe speak out against something without being all like, all I do is ride unicorns and bring in rainbows. That's not realistic. That's not being a realistic light worker. So a realistic light worker does honor and understands how to integrate the shadow and the light.
Yeah, exactly, and like being with everything that is coming through to you, and like owning it as much as possible. That is just like, that is my main practice now. But I mean, like, like we were joking about the bees and everything, but I mean, that's the thing. As you get more powerful, you have more effect on the world, and you are really attuned to those bees. And yeah, they might have started stinging him, and it's like, you really have to own your shit and not go around dumping stuff on people. I'm not saying you were
Right.
doing that, but like, it's no good keep training and training in more this and more that. If you don't work with your shadow, it'll bite you on
Oh
the
yes.
ass.
Oh yes. And if it comes out in either very ugly ways, whether it's through your actions, whether it's through your words and your behaviors, or you can implode, which is also worse, because that creates toxins in your physical body, and can, I've read some things that there's actually been like spiritual or metaphysical links to cancer and anger. People that are carrying so much anger and just kind of swallowing it. And they say, yeah, it's genetic, cancer is genetic, and, it's not only genetic, but it is, in my personal metaphysical opinion, it is sometimes a expression of a root issue, that it's expressing
Yeah,
itself in a very ugly way. And yes, it can be, because we do carry our ancestral lineage and DNA and, karma as well. So, we do carry all that. So yeah, it can be genetic, but yeah, it's important to deal with that. It's not, you can rage, you can be angry, you can cry and scream. Finding productive ways to do it is a good idea.
That's it, because all these things can be channeled
That's
as
right.
well. And like, I mean, quite often it's when I get annoyed about things, that is when I actually get off my arse and work through the resistance. It's when I've got to that point, like, oh, I'm really annoyed now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like quite often, it's quite often the thing that gets me moving with the things that I'm stuck with. And I know Spirit know that. I can see their schemes.
Mm-hmm. You're right. You're right.
Right. We're going to irritate her into this.
Yep. That's right, because it's the trigger. The triggers have to happen. That's why it's like, people say, well, why me? Why do I get put in these situations where it's like I attract it to me or something? Yes, we do, because we have to be triggered to show you that if it didn't trigger you, you're healed. You know what I mean? You don't need to, that it's not a lesson that you no longer need to embody or experience. But if it does trigger you and you have this negative reaction, it's spirit showing you, this is in you. This is still hanging around. You got to deal with how something makes you feel, and how you react and how you respond, because there's an agitation below the surface just waiting to erupt. It's that we need to erupt it so that you feel it, so you understand it, so you know it, and then you know how to release it. If you continue to indulge it, well, that's the negative shadow stuff that people talk about. But
that's what's so great, is the results you get from doing shadow work and looking at it, because it's like, oh, it's so much better afterwards, and you feel so much better, and it's just like the levels of just drop down a little bit more. I wish I had more years left. I know I'm not dead yet, but I sort of wish I was 20 again. Do you know what I mean? So I could have even more years ahead of like bringing it all
don't
down.
we all? Don't we all? That's what I said. If I could take everything that I know now back to those days, imagine where I'd be right now. But I guess, it's all I have a lot of clients actually that, in my spiral temple, I do work with a lot of older women, is younger women too, but I find it's more a lot of older women that come because there has been this whole, like, I've conditioned way of thinking and being, especially for a woman. And they haven't lived for themselves because we are programmed to live for everyone else, our family, and then our children, and then our spouses. And we are the very last person at the end of the day. And by the time we're actually able to live for ourselves, most of the time we're in our 40s, closer to the 50s, And then you've got grandchildren too. So it's very difficult for people to accept that it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to live for yourself as you are doing these other things. But the one thing that I hear them say a lot is, I wish I did this when I was younger. I wish I didn't wait so long to have this epiphany. And it's like, I understand that, but you did exactly what you needed to do based on your karmic lessons, cycles, experiences that you needed to have here. And you're exactly where you're meant to be in this exact moment in time.
And it's also the times that we're in, isn't it? I mean, I could just feel like when we did that transmission the other week, and I was saying to you, wow, it's so divine feminine, all this stuff that's coming through. But I could really feel how there's more for the divine feminine to like reawaken stuff in us, not just women, but also men as well, that has been lost. We've lost so many of our gifts. And I'm really having a vision of just how much more sophisticated our psychic and spiritual gifts could be. And it feels like the divine feminine is like bringing through like more and more of this stuff. And like when my mum was young, you couldn't do this stuff. It wasn't around. So in a way, they've sort of sacrificed not being in this time now, like the older generation. But it's starting because, I think these things really come down through the ancestral lines. And so it gets carried and carried and carried until the time where it can start to come out. And then that's us, isn't it? We're just starting to see, the last, I don't know, 10, I suppose, Josh, he's 17 now, and I was pregnant with him when I did my second year of the priestess thing. So I suppose it's 20 years. It's not been that long that really it started to be on a big scale, though, because it's starting to be on a much bigger scale now, isn't it? I don't know how many people you're seeing sort of interested in your...
Oh yeah, there's now the interest is starting to get, you know, when I first started doing this work, I've told this story actually to my Spiral Temple students. When I first started doing this work, it was back in early 2000s, and I was really alone in it for a little while. You know, there wasn't a lot of other people who thought the way that I did. And if there were, I met them like online, and they were scattered around the world. So it wasn't really that there was a lot of close knit people doing what I was doing or feeling how I was feeling. And I used to cry, you know, because I felt like I missed a time that just wasn't here anymore, you know? And then the more that I worked on myself, more that opportunities presented themselves to me, new people, communities, it really started to open up. Now it's like everyone is walking around wearing crystals. Even if they don't have an understanding of them, they're walking around wearing them, which is incredible. Because I said years ago, crystals just want to be in everybody's house. They want to be in everyone's house because of what they're going to do, how they're going to facilitate healing, how they're going to facilitate expansion and growth without people really even understanding what's happening. And it's happening, you know? And it's like that. People are really starting to look for answers in a divine way, look to themselves for power, for healing. And they're really tuning in. That's what I feel like is just tuning in, this little switch that just got turned on. And they're coming more and more into an awareness of they might not understand, but they want to understand.
Because it takes you right back to, so like connecting with goddess energies, then all that sort of superficial SHIT from our society and culture just drops away, doesn't it? And then you're in tune with that essence of the divine feminine.
That feeling is just, it's so primal and so divine, and just, that's what it was for me. That was my awakener. I was reading fiction books, I think it was. And, you know, I said this before, I always had called to like magical, esoteric, but I didn't understand it. And, I came across like these, you know, I'm really huge in reading like medieval and ancient history. I'm like, oh my God, I could tell you England's history from like way back into the Dark Ages. But I started also reading some fiction regarding that, you know, making it more, you know, not less, you know, I don't know how to even less. Yeah, seeing it come to life and stuff. And there was all of this talk of the secret pagan, you know, communities and the groups that worship this goddess energy. And the more I read, then the more I started researching like real, you know, nonfiction stuff and really getting into it. And it was like a coming home. It was this feeling within me that was like, I awoke in the goddess within me, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah, that's it. Because like in my first year, we had to write our own initiation. And I can remember writing something like, because I am in you and you are in me, like to the goddess. And I didn't really understand what it meant. I still don't really, but I knew it was true.
That's right.
It's just like so deep. It's like, that's it. I can, you know, I go to places like different countries and I can feel I've been a priestess there, and it's just like this.
Oh, that's me and Avalon, me and Glastonbury. I can feel it. It's called. It just calls me back.
Yeah. And when I sit in churches, which I don't do a lot unless they're on a sacred site, but when I do, I really call the divine feminine in around me like a cloak, because it's so missing in most of the churches I sit in. I guess they're Protestant. The Catholic churches, some of them are lovely. And of course, I know Catholicism has got its own problems as well, but it didn't throw the divine feminine out in the same way as the Protestant churches did. And it's just like, even just being in that atmosphere, it's just like, ooh, it's like nails going down a blackboard for me, you know. So Oh, so did you say you're starting a
I
new
did,
spiral
yeah. So
soon?
it's going, I usually set to launch level one so it's a 10-month program, which I find interesting because to me it's very gestational. It's like we're pregnant for a full 9 months, almost 10 months, and then you're like really giving birth to yourself. So there are 2 levels at this time. And obviously you have to take level one first before you move on to level two. But each level is 10 months. And so I started about September 21st or so, around the fall equinox here in the Northern Hemisphere. And every month I bring forward a new energy, a new divine feminine representative that can assist us with their power, with their magic. So we learn a little bit about that energy and how their life, or how what they embody, can bring healing to us, and is actually, we are them. So it's funny that you said that. It's like they are an aspect of us. So we bring their energy in, we learn about them, we work with them. I bring in meditations and light transmissions to assist them in facilitating their own healing. And level one is a journey of self-healing. It's really just going through a lot of our wounds, that the sacred feminine energy has experienced and has been repressed. And as you know, the spark of creation, we too are the divine feminine. So we too have experienced these areas of repression. And we work with the seasons. So we do work with the wheel of the year, and a little bit about learning how to start to awaken our own goddess, our own magic, our own power. And then when, people decide to go on to level two, so level two will also be starting for my previous level one students. It's called As Above, So Below. And we begin to actually harness our power and how we can work with the energies of the underworld, the other world, and then rise up and work with the energies of, like the rays of creation and ascended masters. And so we become the priestess, we become the conduit between heaven and earth. So that is, it's an incredible journey. I'm going to be announcing it this week and opening up registration for September, and then it shuts down, and only those students who are in, because it becomes a sisterhood as well. It's very much about working together and connecting with a tribe of like souls that, you're all contracted to meet and be together in those times. And I've met my soul family that way, starting this. I really did. My soul sisters, women that I'm in business with, I've met them through my temple. So it's an amazing journey.
And I saw on your website, because I had a bit of a look at it, that you may be having a level
It is
three.
in the works.
What's that going to be about?
Mary Magdalene teachings of the Ancient Order of Rose Priestesses. So that is something that my partner, Karen, and I are going to. We have ourselves gone through intense initiations and trainings this year, through these ascended masters and through an actual physical mentor here. And we are now just coming down off of integrating all of those teachings, and we will be opening up ourselves to energies like Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Anandamayi Ma, Babaji, Yeshua. So it's a masculine and a feminine thing, and we will be working with them to bring forward these teachings of our own to create the next level of what is my spiral temple.
Wow.
It really is.
Stuff,
It's like, I was telling Karen, like, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. This is what I've always been called to do and working towards, is what I should say. This is what I've always been working towards. And to be able to be that conduit for the sacred feminine as well as the sacred masculine is just incredibly powerful and honor. It's a great honor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for asking about it. I've been so non-motivated in getting it, put up there to offer for people that, this really helps me to just get like, come on, Jamie, put everything else aside and get it done. So.
Yeah, there. Because that's it, because you love
yes.
it. Yeah. I know, because as soon as you start talking about it, and that's why I wanted to ask you about it, because I can feel it all as
Thank
well.
you.
I love it. I love it as well. I was really lucky actually when I did mine, because I actually went to a physical place with physical people, and it's not like there's goddess temples all
Right.
over England, because there really isn't. Happened to have moved, and I'm sure that's why I moved there. I thought it was because of a nursing job, but I think it wasn't. I think it wasn't, because I left nursing and I ended up doing this priestess um, course, and it so wasn't the sort of thing I would do. I mean, I was married and divorced before I even trained as a nurse, and I met my ex-husband. He was Welsh years later, and when I told him the things I'd been doing, he just looked at me and said, "Who are you?" And he wasn't laughing.
Okay.
It was this sort of, he was like, "What?" He thought I was this sort of person, a very normal sort of. He thought, I don't know, he thought I was really posh and sort of conservative, and which I wasn't. I was just thinking, so you married me and you thought I was somebody completely different to how I was. But anyway, yeah, I've changed a lot, really. I mean, if you take me in like different phases of my life, people would not recognize me from sort of one person to the other. Well, apart from my family, but I mean, they're used to me just being mad now. They just think I'm
Yeah,
mad.
me too.
As we get older, I think they're starting to realize that perhaps I was the same one.
Yeah. Isn't it
Yeah.
funny how that works? Yeah.
But I love the thought that these things are becoming much more commonplace, because I know, like, to me, it's my foundation to everything else that I've done. And I thought perhaps I would be called to, like, because I teach, that's what I do. I'm a teacher. I thought I might be called to do that, but I haven't been, and it's not my path. But I do have lots of projects at the moment, and my main one right now is working with Sarah and her healing energies. But I'll talk more about that next week. But I am just like, it has sort of taken over my life a
Yeah.
bit at the moment. So managing to fit in a bit of Norse magic study in between, here and there. But I'm kind of glad.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say this really. I'm kind of glad the
Oh,
summer holidays are over, because I've like got this energy in me, and I can get
yeah,
back to
it's
my,
hard. It's hard when, especially, when you have the young ones at home and, you've really got a lot of your time and energy is dedicated to that. So it's really hard to, for some people to be able to separate that and manage that, because how do you? But it's also in the summertime, people want to go, you want to move, you want to get outside, you want to do things. So it's hard, but definitely I think fall is going to
yeah.
bring a fire with it that's going to put a lot of stuff in motion. Yeah.
September's
Yeah.
never a good month for me, though. I really struggle in September. But my mum
Okay.
died in September. I got divorced in September. What else happened in September? I know there's other things.
Yeah.
9/11 was in September. I'm really
Oh,
prone
no.
to depression in September. And also it's the end of the summer, because I love the summer. And I'm living in a country where summer is like the smallest season of the year. I really need to be in Hawaii. I've been telling the universe that for years now, and it's like it's not worked out for me. So I guess I'm where I'm supposed to be. But I
Well,
really
September
like
is
warm
also a
weather.
9 month. If you take the energy of the nine, it's all about completions of cycles and closing out old chapters. But before we can do those things, we really have to learn the lessons of those cycles and, anything that's heavy that's ready to come up for completion. And so you do see a lot of endings, especially moving into October being Samhain and, celebrated as the Celtic New Year. So it's really the end of a year. It's the end of a cycle. And, the whole death and rebirth is the theme of that time. So September's kind of like we're starting to prepare to move into the end, if you will, before we're reborn.
Yeah, and I'm getting the feeling, like, as you're talking, that there's something there for me about being able to take these kind of tragedies, because it was a really tragedy when my mum died, because she was misdiagnosed. But
Oh
and also my dad
wow.
died in October of cancer as well. They
Sorry.
died of cancer. There's something about being able to take tragedies and sort of weave them back in to sort of good things as well. So they're not just sort of, they're a bit sort of separated off into things that are sad. I also wonder if there's some past
It feels
life
like it.
thing that
It
happened
feels like
in
it.
that time of the, and I think this year, if I can be like really present, because normally I just try and survive my way through it, whereas this year, if I can sort of be present to it more, because I am getting much better at that now. And then, like, saying, I can feel something and like saying yes to it rather than sort of going, oh, you know, then that might go a bit better. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just sit and cry through September. You and me can come on, and you'll talk. And I'll just go,
And that would be and that would be
cry
okay,
my way through.
because maybe that's what you need to do, to
That.
sit with it and feel it and own it, and that gives voice to it, and it allows,
Yeah.
and then you can release. Yeah. So, wow.
Yeah. I think we've got another month of
Yeah.
summer left.
Another month, and then even
Yeah.
most of the times, hopefully here, most of the times we get what we call Indian summers, where it's like September is still very much feeling like it's summertime.
Yeah. We dream about them here. The last 6 years I haven't seen. Maybe we'll get one. And then
So does it
no.
get cold? It gets cold right away?
First I said, yeah, and not like ice or anything like that, but like enough you've got to go wear a coat.
See, fall is my favorite time of year.
Oh, I love the
And
colours
the
of the trees and the
smells
light.
and all the tastes, like pumpkin and nutmeg, and oh, I love it. Also, I'm an October baby, so yeah.
Yeah, Josh is my
October.
eldest. He is.
What?
He always tells me off, oh, Mum, because I have to think. He was born in 2002.
Oh wow.
It
Okay,
was the
so he
4th of
is a
October.
Libra. Nice.
He's very much a Libra.
That's a
Like
good thing.
conflict.
That's a good thing. I've got
Likes
two
to
little
keep the peace.
torn bulls here.
Yeah.
They do not shy away from conflict. So interesting, makes life interesting.
Oh dear, no wonder you've got to have your voice.
Yeah, that's a Scorpion one. So my challenge is have the voice, but learn how to do it with kitten gloves, Jamie. So, because Scorpions, there's no talking, there's the tail. That's all you get, is you get the tail. But yes, that's something that I am, part of my mastery here is going to be bringing my heart and throat together. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, next week we can talk a little bit about, if you're ready, what you are working on. Yeah.
I would love to. You'll probably have to shut me out. I'll probably.
Oh, I doubt that. Yes, lots of magical, interesting things happening. And I feel like the energy of this past week, has really been like, it's giving us this revamping energy that wants us to really start to reflect and to reevaluate things in our life, what is no longer necessary, what we can let go of, so we can start to actually focus and hone in on new energy that's coming in to work with us, or how we can change direction in our lives that's more in alignment with our authenticity, with our truth, and our passions. So I'm really interested to see what this week brings.
Yeah, and what a year it's been. My word, a year like none of us have ever seen, and our living memory in all of our lives. So it's just,
Yes. So it really did. The Great Awakening.
Definitely.
That's really, and I was saying that when it first started happening, and then I began to see, because I heard it, and I think it might have been one of the things that we channeled. I heard the Great Awakening, maybe in the very beginning when we channeled in the new group that we had, our private group. And sure enough, it really is being considered the Great Awakening of our time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's hope so.
Fingers crossed.
We'll do our best.
That's all we can do.
Yes, so it's been lovely to talk to you. Even though it feels like it was 2 weeks ago.
I said the same thing. I was like, wait a minute. No, it wasn't 2 weeks ago that I saw you. It was last week that we spoke about the bees.
Yeah, it was just last week.
And apparently this one too.
Yeah, that's it. We still sort of had a bit more about the bees.
Yes, so thank you everyone for being here with us.
Oh, I know. I had one thing to remember. I wrote it down on a bit of paper. I do this a lot, and then I didn't look at a bit of paper. But we had our first $5 supporter on Patreon, and her name is Janny Burton.
Thank you so much. You said Janny? Janny Burton.
Yeah, Jannie. So unless she's Danish, and then it would be Yanni.
Thank you very much for the support and for the love. We do greatly appreciate that and appreciate your support and presence here today, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, and we have a page on, so it's Patreon, patreon.com/Cosmic Heart, and you can go on there, and if you like listening to our show, you can also pledge $5 a month if you want to see us keep coming back for years to come. Jamie's going, oh God.
From your lips to the universe's ears. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a blessed week.